Alrighty, guys, we are here to talk about everybody's favorite MCU topic these days. Is Elizabeth Olsen coming back as Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch in the MCU? And, it's funny because at some point last year or earlier on this year, we were doing segments on this almost every month. Elizabeth Olsen giving quotes and talking about, would I want to come back to the MCU? Maybe, maybe not. And, the tone was lukewarm, right? The tone was lukewarm for a while, especially after Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which was, I think, I wouldn't say a troubled production, but it was a messy production based on everything that we know. And it doesn't look like Elizabeth Olsen had the best time making that movie, although, again, she's never said a terrible word about it, but I think she's admitted to there being a lot of different moving parts and script changes and director changes and writer changes and things like that. It's understandable, right? But as the months have gone by, and we've talked about this before, in her latest comments, before the ones that we're going to talk about here today, she has seemed a little bit more open to returning as Wanda Maximoff, saying that she'd be down for a return to the MCU. And now, as she's making, I think, another promotional tour with another film, I think she's given her clearest indication that she would be returning, or she would be willing to return as Wanda Maximoff. Now, again, we don't do segments on X actor says, oh, I'd love to come back in the MCU every single time because it would get exhausting. If every time Stan had said, oh, I'd love to come back as Bucky, or Anthony Mackie had said, oh, I'd love to come back as Cap or Falcon or whatever, back when he was Falcon. Or if Paul Rudd was asked every single time, oh, would you want to come back as Ant-Man? The answer is, of course he would, right? So it's not like we're going to cover this every single time, but I do think that this is all fitting into a larger narrative, a larger picture, where it seems like the tone of Elizabeth Olsen has been changing. And we'll read the quotes here in just a second about what she has to say. And I think that what some of the things she has to say about the MCU are really quite nice and quite touching. But we'll talk about that in just a second. But the other thing I wanted to say is that this is fitting into a narrative where certain actors, right after they exit the MCU, are kind of like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And I had a good run. Nothing bad about the MCU, just saying I had a good run. But then slowly their tone starts to change. And Robert Downey Jr. was the same. At first he was like, no, I'm done with the MCU. And now he's back. And the tone had started to shift about a year before he was announced to be coming back as Doctor Doom. I think Chris Evans' tone is also softening just a little bit here, but we'll talk about that another day. So let's talk about Elizabeth Olsen's quotes here about returning as Wanda Maximoff, or just about the MCU in general. She says, quote, making the films are fun, goofy. It's ridiculous. We're grown people like children on a playground. We're flying, we're shooting things out of our hands, and it's a character that I've gotten to return to so many times after over 10 years. It's good to put her down, and then I miss her and I want her back. I jump at the opportunity to be in her shoes again. And then she has another quote here. Scrolling down in the article, scrolling down. Oh yes, here we go. It's the consistency of a community in a job, which is hard to find. The insane camera movement, stunt work, and special effects, visual effects that are happening in real time. It's a lot of coordination. It's hundreds and thousands of people on set, and it's a powerful thing to be a part of all these people working towards one goal. The people doing the visual effects are artists. The soul, the spirit, the heart is fulfilled doing it. It does mean something. I care about the acting being great. Everyone does. I think it's great to hear that, honestly. At first, when I was reading those quotes, she was like, oh, it's kind of ridiculous and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, is she... because some of the actors who have done MCU things are like, yeah, it's, it is what it is. It's fine. It's whatever. But I think Elizabeth Olsen has been pretty clear and pretty transparent about the fact that, yeah, I mean, some of the things that you do as a Marvel actor is, acting on green screen and doing all those kinds of things. But also, there's a joy to it as well. And I love that she says that. Now, let's get to the meat of this quote, right? That's what we're here to talk about. She says, quote, it's good to put her down, and then I miss her, and I want her back. I jump at the opportunity to be in her shoes again. So again, in a vacuum, right? Elizabeth Olsen says she'd want to come back as Wanda Maximoff. Does that mean anything in a vacuum? Not necessarily. But in the context of what she's been saying over the past few months, over the last year or so, I think it does mean something. We started out at a place where I believe she was saying things like, oh, I had a good run and things like that, but no, I'm done. To, yeah, if there was an opportunity, I'd like to do it. To now, I jump at that opportunity to be in her shoes again. Does this mean she's already shot scenes as Wanda for Avengers Doomsday, or she knows she's going to be in Secret Wars? Not necessarily. Although, if she was going to be in Doomsday or Secret Wars, she would know by now. I think she'd definitely know by now. But does this lessen the chances of her coming back? And in fact, I think would increase the chance of her coming back? I mean, I certainly think that if she's saying these things and the Russos were having conversations with her and they were like, yeah, we actually do have an interesting role for a Scarlet Witch variant, because I've said all along, the variant from Earth 616 is dead. That's what I believe. That's what I believe the movie was saying. But obviously, in this world of the MCU and superhero movies and whatnot, of course that doesn't mean that Wanda Maximoff can't appear in some other form or fashion, right? So I think that if the Russos had conversations with her and she had expressed this enthusiasm and she was like, yeah, I'd be down, then yeah, I think that increased her chances of coming back. So I personally think, I've said it before, I think that version is dead, but I also think that there is a pretty decent chance she's going to be coming back for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. We'll have to see what that turns into. Guys, what do you make of her comment, Elizabeth Olsen's comments? Do you think that Scarlet Witch will be back for Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars? Let me know in the comments down below.